All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Climate Action Homes. I am so excited because I am going to be able to introduce you to Arturo Rodriguez. And Arturo is somebody that I met as part of the whole power solar community. And he was talking about what he does as a real estate agent and helping his clients. It's exactly the message that I want realtors to understand, is that by combining real estate and solar, you have like these superpowers that nobody else does. And I have to say that Arturo knows what he's talking about with solar, especially because he's got that shirt on that says Centurion. That means that he's done 100 deals with power. So congratulations on that, Arturo. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. I'll tell you a little bit of what we do.
For sure. Yeah. Why don't you start with that?
Great. Thank you so much. My name is Arturo Rodriguez. In Power, most people know me as Turkey. They know me as Coach Turkey, as a sales coach. I'm originally from El Paso, Texas, and that's where I started my real estate career 13 years ago, to be exact. So once I started getting really busy, probably after my 5th or 6th year, I started noticing a lot of solar was popping up left and right. And people were starting to inquire about that. And I said, hey, let me look into that. And the same reason I have my property and casualty license to sell insurance, which I don't sell insurance, but I only got the license just to become and be able to become educated for my clients. I said, let me go find out about solar so I can find out and be able to educate more. When I started finding into solar, and I went into a local company and said, hey, let me help you out with sales a little bit so I can know more about it. First of all, I looked at the commissions and stuff, and I said, wow, these guys are getting as much money as us realtors are getting without a license. But I said, wait a minute, it is a very effective way. I thought about it in my perspective, saying, hey, if I was to get solar, then I don't have to pay electricity. And let me tell, my clients are getting solar from other companies. They already trust me. I might as well just be the one to offer it to them. And so I became a solar professional, and it just went hand in hand. I said, hey, since you got the house from me, one of my services that I do is I'm going to inform you if solar is right for your home or not. And I think right now I can easily say 85% of my clients have, buy a house from me, end up getting solar as well. Between 85 and 90. Yeah. And then just recently, I've only done it twice so far but this past month I was able to sell a house where they hired me to get them a house. I found them a house. We put solar on it 4 years ago, and now he was ready to sell again and look for a smaller home. And so I was able to resell that house with solar that I originally put solar on. This was here in Dallas. So I've always sold in DFW area and in El Paso, San Antonio, and Austin. I have my MLS in all these cities. And so what I do is I just list the homes. I'm more of a listing agent, and I list these homes. And then obviously if they need a house, I'll become the buyer's agent. But most of them end up putting solar. And this is the second time where I got them the house, I put solar panels, and now I list the house. So it was very interesting the way we were able to do it, because we were able to get more money for them.
Okay, yeah, that was the question I was going to ask, because I feel like so many people say, I'm not sure if I want to invest in solar because I'm not sure how long I'm going to be here. I don't know if I'm going to get any value. And I love what you're saying is like, okay, somebody was in the house for 4 years and then you listed it, but because you knew about the solar, you were able to help them. So tell us a little bit about how that went forward.
This particular one, I knew everything about it because I did the deal myself. And so I already knew he only owed $27,000 more on it. Now, in this particular case, I was able to list a house above market value than any other house was. The problem that realtors have doing that is because they're scared of the appraisals. They said it's not going to get appraised, and it's not going to get appraised. And the realtor will tell you, will say, yeah, I don't care how much you want to raise the value of the house. It all comes down to who? To the appraiser, right? So if it doesn't get appraised and buyers try to buy that house financed, then the bank's not going to finance if it gets appraised for less. And that's one of the biggest issues that the realtors have, saying, hey, we can't just pay it off because it doesn't get appraised for that much. In this case, it was $27,000 more. I listed it at $35,000 above market value on purpose. And yeah, when the appraiser came, it appraised at $17,000 less than what I listed it at. And I did my comps and I did my what's called an appeal email. I sent it to them. Then I got like a little back and forth discussion through email as why it should be priced, and I won, and the appraiser gave it the value.
Wow. This is the importance of working with a realtor that knows something about solar, because I'm guessing if they worked with a more average kind of realtor without that expertise, then it would be kind of self-fulfilling of them saying, I'm not going to get value. And then they might not.
That's how I was able to convince that appraiser in this particular case. This particular house I'm talking about was back home in El Paso, but this particular home, I started discussing with the appraiser and say, we can only take comps from this 1 mile area. You're talking to us about houses that are not even in that area. And I was like, I understand that, but I'm not talking about the value of the house anymore. I'm talking about the value of the solar, which this house has on it. And so I built value on the solar to the appraiser. And he says he was able to understand why solar was very worth it in that particular home or in any home, because I was able to say, look, I've sold these other homes. They've had also a 7 kilowatt or 8 kilowatt system. And for an 8 kilowatt system, the house that we're selling, a house of maybe 5 people will live there. You know, a husband, wife, maybe 3 kids at the most. Nobody else fits in that house. That's more than enough for the amount of panels this house. And I was able to speak on that. And so I explained it. Basically, I sold the appraiser on getting solar, which, by the way, I got an appointment with him for solar for his house because of that conversation back and forth. It was beautiful. And so he ended up giving it the value. And so everything just went smooth after that. He was able to sell it above market value and they got the value. So it was good.
So the way that you overcame the issue of the appraiser saying, hey, I don't have any comps within a mile that have solar, was to say, okay, I understand that, but that doesn't mean that the solar doesn't have a value. Let's look at the solar separately. Right. And so you have a creative solution. And that's what it takes, is somebody that understands, no, this does have value, just because it doesn't fit into this little box how you see it.
When a realtor will come that does not know anything about solar, first thing they're gonna say, and one of the most common things, they're like, it's like when you have a pool, you know, that you spend $60,000 on it and it'll only raise it to $5,000. You know, that argument is completely false. In my 13 years of real estate, the reason a pool doesn't give a lot of value to a house is because not everybody needs a pool. For example, I have 6 boys. The oldest is only 14. The little one is 6 years old. When I was buying my house, when I came to Dallas, people want to show me a house with a pool, and I didn't even want to go see it because I'm one of those parents that are scared that my kids are going to have an accident in the pool one day that I'm not there. And, you know, a house with a pool builds no value on me, and I don't even want to go see that house. So that's why the pool does not add that much value, because not everybody wants one. So you cannot compare pool to solar panels, because solar panels provide electricity, and tell me somebody that does not need electricity. It's completely different. You cannot compare. You cannot compare this solar that provides electricity that everybody needs and it's a must-have. You cannot compare it to a pool, which is a luxury, which it is. And some people want it and some people don't. In my case, I didn't even want to go see that house.
That's a really good point, because a lot of people do use that comparison, and you just obliterated it. And what was the other home that you mentioned that had solar?
I just recently sold one here in Garland, Texas, right by Dallas. That one, the owner still owed $40,000 on it. He had gotten the solar system only 2 years ago. It was a 10 kilowatt system. In Garland, they're only allowed to put up to a 10 kilowatt system. But that one, the house was a little beat up. He didn't want to do a lot of renovation. He says, I'm just going to paint it. And so I looked at the market around there, and we could a nice renovated home we could probably sell at $250,000. I listed it for $276,000, again above market value. And I said, hey, let's list it at this. And I knew that one was too high of a price to get appraised, but I did it on purpose because I knew that because of the work, the investors were going to try to see it as a fixer-upper and try to capitalize. Of course, we're getting super low deals on it, all these cash deals that we started getting because they saw the condition of the house, so they thought they could lowball us pretty much. And I purposely did it at $275,000 so that when we start talking lower numbers, I can now speak on how much discount from the listing price I took off of it on purpose. I knew it was not going to sell at $276,000. We ended up selling it for $258,000. on purpose so that he can pay for the panels. And that was the whole point. But he ended up not paying for the panels. I convinced the investor and say, what do you guys want this property for? And he says, we want it for a rental. And I was like, guess what, buddy? And you're never going to lack a tenant in a house that comes with electricity included. And he's like, what are you talking about? Well, let me tell you what kind of system he's got. And now I'm selling to the investor what the 10 kilowatt system that it has. He was financed through GoodLeap, and I was able to say, hey, it's a 10 kilowatt system. It provides as much energy. Here's the application that he has. Here's the logins. You can always see him. It also has what's called solar insure. So you have solar insure, you still got 25 years left on warranty, brother. Now, if anything ever goes on it, just you're not only getting that home warranty that your homeowners can purchase. Now your solar system has that solar insure warranty if anything goes wrong. So you just tack on the payment. So don't even offer something lower than the 270. Give me a lower offer and assume the payments. Why don't you assume the payments and you take over? The payments are $198 a month, but you tack onto the rent. Right now, I did a market analysis of how much he could rent that house for, and he loved it. We were able to close that. It was a slower deal, but he took over the payments. We transferred it some GoodLeap. Now, he said a little bit is going to be financed. So GoodLeap, it is only a UCC one. They allow the closing of the home through title before they don't have to run the credit check. And that's important because if a homeowner is trying to qualify for a house, we all know they shouldn't be running their credit at all. And so GoodLeap allows us to close on the deal and then right after go ahead and transfer the loan. And so we went ahead and did that. Now, when you transfer the loan, they transfer it with the same conditions, terms, and finance and interest rate that the homeowner got, not at the new one. We transfer the loan at a 2.99% that the homeowner got back then, which is unknown right now.
Yeah.
So right now, like you're telling me that I'm going to assume this one at 2.99 when the interest is at 6. I'm like, yes, sir. I was like, great. Where do I sign?
What I'm hearing from you, Arturo, is that you are creative and you're determined. And so if it takes talking to the investor and selling, you're basically selling the benefits of solar to each person that you're talking to, whether it's the seller, the buyer, whoever it is at each stage, you're in there and advocating. And that's what a professional does. And that's why I'm saying that you have the superpower by combining real estate and solar. And I think that's what people really need to know. A lot of real estate professionals think, yeah, I see that, but there's no way I could add that to my business. It's gonna drag me down by taking my focus. We've all read the book, The One Thing. You just have to concentrate on the one thing. So what would you say to folks that are thinking of doing this? Like, what would be a way that they could ramp up? Or, if they're thinking, yeah, that'd be cool to be where Arturo is, but I don't know how I could get there.
Well, that's a very good question, Joan, because that's a big worry. When Enterprise came out in power, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Enterprise. I said, hey, let me go make every broker in El Paso an Enterprise and say every broker can now offer solar, which is huge. But they have that same thought that they tell you. They say, wait a minute, I want to focus just on this, and I was like, that's good. I was like, I like to be more like an Amazon with feet. Some people worry about it might look unprofessional, me just offering all kinds of stuff rather than just focused on real estate. The client might not have my full trust. And there's all kinds of stuff that people think. But the way I did it is, and I'm only going to speak on how I did it. I'm not saying it's the right or wrong way, but I took my book of business when I became a solar professional. And then I just started calling everybody and saying, how's you doing in your house? And they're like, oh, we're not ready to sell. We're not ready to. I'm like, no, I was just calling to see how you guys were. Since you're a client of mine, I see a lot of people offering solar. Before you do any kind of decision in solar, give us a call and we'll educate you on it for free. We'll give you a free appointment, let you know all the ins and outs and pros and cons about solar. And if it's right for you or if it's wrong for you. That's my approach with my clients. My approach is saying, hey, I'm not here to sell you solar. I'm here to tell you because people, when you buy a house, people are going to go offer you solar. They're going to offer you alarms. They're going to offer you Ring doorbells. They're going to offer you sprinkler systems. Everybody's going to be knocking at your door offering, especially when you just bought a house. I'll like, before you do any purchase, come and talk to me. And I'll tell you if solar is right or wrong for you in case you ever decide to go that route. Now, when we're talking about that solar appointment, they end up liking it and saying, by the way, hey, if you want to get solar, you get it through us as well. or you get it through myself. And, that way, if you ever need to sell a house, hey, I already know what you have and I'm able to sell it. So that's the value I'm building on the clients. I'm focused only on my clients. I'm not out there looking for solar deals. I'm over there I'm listing houses and I'm representing my buyers. And to the buyers, I'm selling solar. What happens is after doing it for 4 years, which I've been doing it for 4 years like that, you're just super stacked with referrals because now they're not referring you just for real estate. Now I'm getting the reason I became a solar Centurion is because all my clients said, my realtor set me up with solar. Call him if you want solar. And all of a sudden, now I'm doing solar and real estate at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's so easy because we're able to do everything from our computer, especially if you're a listing agent. Most of the work you can do it through email as well. The only time you need to be out there if you're a buyer's agent, showing homes. Other than that, usually I list a house. I have an open house every, maybe once a week on the weekend. But usually the way the market's been, like the house I put in Garland up for sale, this one that when I put at 270 went up for 256 where they transferred, I ended up having it in contract within 6 days of it being in the market only. So I only put in the market 6 days with a $40,000 C1 note solar loan on it. And within 6 days, I was able to sell it. So all you got to do is know what you're selling. That's my big thing. You got to know what you're selling. If you don't know anything about solar, you're going to have a hard time. And that's what realtors are scared of because they don't know about it. But once you know about it, you fall in love with it, you've experienced it, you're able to sell it.
I wish that I would have known when I was doing real estate that I could have been offering solar, even as an ambassador doing a referral, because depending which company you refer to, with Power, it's $1,000, with others, maybe 500. And the number of realtors that a single person knows compared to the number of solar consultants, it's much more rare to know somebody who can educate you about solar. So it's definitely a way to differentiate yourself, give you another touch point. It's interweaving your referrals with solar and real estate, so making it all that much more.
And you get both. It works on the other side. I haven't gone solar because I'm thinking of selling my house, within this year. I'm like, oh, really? Who's going to sell it? We don't know yet. Oh, guess what?
Right. As a solar professional, when somebody says that, you're like, oh, okay, I'll move on to the next person. So no matter what they say, that you as a real estate professional can help them out. And when you're setting up for an open house or you're setting up your MLS listing, so we talked about how you help the appraiser understand the value, but how do you help the buyer understand the value if you're the listing agent?
That's a very good question. And one of the things I do on my MLS is I say, home comes with solar panel, please call listing agent for more information because I want them to call me. A lot of people with solar panels list the whole everything on private remarks. And then what happens is the buyer's agent gets the thing and reads it to his buyer and that's it. And it becomes like when you go do a solar sale just to the husband or just to the wife, if once they tell the husband or once they tell the wife, they don't tell them, they don't sell it. They just say it's going to cost $60,000 and it costs $20 a month and that's about it. And so that's something I don't want to happen. That's why I don't list the information on the MLS. I have the agent call me and I say, hey, so you want a sale, right? So this house is totally worth it. I need to explain to you and your buyer present on a Zoom call of why this house has a good system. When can we join? A lot of realtors are very careful with their clients. Say, I don't want you to talk to my client. Why don't you just tell me? And I'm like, I'd love to tell you, but I'm gonna be honest with you. The information is not gonna transmit, and they might have questions. And I don't want to be, I'm very busy to be handling all these calls. So why don't we just tackle it? And any questions they have, we handle them all together. You, your buyer, and myself. So we sit down, and when I'm doing there, I do a whole solar presentation. And so I just start talking to the buyer, and I say, this house has this, and you're gonna love it. And this is why. And guess what? If you buy it at this price, it's gonna be paid off. But if you want to transfer the loan and assume it, we could probably lower the price a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I always list the homes for the seller to pay off the system, but that's why I overprice them. But I say, hey, if you want, you could probably offer something less if you assume the loan. But if you assume the loan, let me tell you why it's worth it. And boom. And it's not about assuming a loan. It's like, let me tell you, you're going to have one payment. You're going to have one payment, just one payment. And let me tell you why. And so I'm basically just go into solar professional mode, and I give a solar presentation to the buyer at that point. So I purposely do not list any information on the MLS so I can get a meeting with the buyer's agent and the buyer on a Zoom call, and I can really sell the solar to them and say, hey, the solar's the less of the worries here. This is, trust me, that's actually a benefit you're getting.
Do you show them like 12 months worth of production data, or show them the app with the monitoring, or how do you convey the actual value of that electricity that the solar
almost
panels
always,
should be producing?
if they have a good system, I use the homeowners' electric bills. It's the easiest thing to do. Like, look, these are my client's bills. They're like, what? He pays $7 in electricity? I'm like, yes. And that
Right.
almost always they're like, okay. That's usually how I handle that. Right now, I have a case where, a dumb solar company, they did wrong to the person, and they got them on a really $70,000 solar system, and they did a big mess. So they want to sell that house, but they have a $60,000 note on it still. They still owe $60,000 to the bank, and I can only sell that house for about $250,000. But the thing is that they sold the system wrong. So I was able to speak to the bank, and they're able to remove the system. So there's always something you can do. There's always something you can do. But the problem, I think that it just takes a little bit extra work. It's not a traditional, let me go take pictures, let me put my sign listed, and then just wait for an offer. It's not one of those cool deals that everybody loves. It takes a little bit more work, but I promise you a ton of referrals when you do a little bit of extra more work.
What if you have a real estate agent who doesn't really want to get into all of that? Do you then offer to be a partner, like their solar expert? Or what would you say to realtors that are like, there's no way I'm going to ever be able to give a presentation to a buyer about this solar system? How would you recommend that they interact with the solar pro?
You mean about a realtor that gets a listing with solar panels?
Yeah, let's use that example.
I'm okay with answering questions through a simple call and text real quick. But if you're going to expect time from me to sit on a Zoom or try to sell it to somebody, then, I am going to charge you a little bit. My time costs a little bit of money. So just partner up with somebody that knows how to do it, or even find yourself a solar consultant that's not a realtor. That's fine.
Right.
And just have them and say, hey, man, I'll throw you a couple, just the way they'll give you $1,000 referral, pay them something or offer them something. I don't know, a lunch, and say, hey, just talk to my client and just tell them why this is good. But that's what I would suggest to realtors: become friend with somebody that's from a solar consultant. Have them on speed dial.
For sure. That's what I tell realtors too, is agents, is, hey, I'll be your solar partner. If you're talking to somebody who wants to buy a house with solar, or has a house that they want to sell with solar, then reach out to me. And it's like if you have a home with a septic system or something, oh, hey, I need some expertise here.
There's nothing wrong with saying, give me a second, let me call this guy. He knows all about the solar.
Right.
Let me talk to him or her.
Yeah. Right? The thing I learned in real estate was be the source of the source. Be telling somebody about the condition of their roof or their electrical. That's out of your scope of practice. So if somebody has those questions, then you reach out, and having a solar partner is a great way to go.
One thought I always want to leave my realtor peers, okay, because there's a lot of skepticism and people either that are just agnostic to the idea that, hey, I don't want to even deal with it. Just don't be scared of it. Every single thing has a solution. You just got to find it. There's a way to sell all these houses. I promise. Just don't lose on the opportunity, because you never know. Next thing you know, it's going to become the new norm thing of selling houses with solar panels, if we like it or not, because they already embedded it in our Texas contracts as solar fixtures. That means it's already here. The best thing we should just do is just educate on it. In Power, we can invite you to capitalize on it as well. So people can find us, or can find me on Facebook as Arturo Turky, Turky Rodriguez, on Instagram, on TikTok. You'll see a lot of my TikTok videos as well, and Instagram videos. We have a full solar academy in Dallas. So if you're ever in the DFW, we have a solar academy. It's free of charge. It's a month-long curriculum of 2 hours a day, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The next class starts on July, and it starts fresh on every month.
Wow. So, who is your Solar Academy for?
Solar Academy is for anybody that wants to learn solar, that has gone into power. They must be in power, though, okay? So they must be in power, that maybe they don't have a mentor, or their mentor is in another state, or they don't have guidance, or they don't know, or they don't have a clue of what to do, or how to get it, or how to start their solar business going.
Right.
Anybody, they don't have to be directly under our teams. But the gentleman that we were here earlier, I'm partnered with 3 other mentors. Her name's Noemi Moreno, Guillermo Franco, Arturo Morales, and Carlos Hassenhoff. And we're all the instructors, and we do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 2 hours a day for a whole month. We have this is our curriculum calendar. We start with your goals, your circle, your dashboard, then door to door, calls and objections, social media, deregulated market, co-ops function, how the solar works, how to create a sexy proposal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Every day is something different.
Wow.
So if you're ever in the area, just feel free to stop by here, and I'll send you my address and all that info, so you can probably, share it as well for people that are
Yeah.
over here in DFW. And
Yeah.
it's free of charge. It's free.
That's amazing. I love that. That's the spirit of the solar community. That's the spirit of the real estate community is, if there's like the neighborhood garage sale, it's usually sponsored by the local realtor. And that's the same with solar, is that we're all out here to just help each other, help our businesses, help our communities. And I love what you're doing there. So I will definitely share all that information. And thank you so much, Arturo, for sharing this and for encouraging our real estate peers out there. Go for it. This is coming. You can really help people and make a difference. So thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for the interview as well.
Thanks.